welcome back to OmniFit TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and today I'm going to cover what has been an intense and relieving day in football. I'm going to start off with the matches briefly, and then I'll cover the more important thing or more important circumstance that took place earlier today. Wales and Switzerland was an interesting encounter. Switzerland had most of the possession throughout the game. Mbolo was absolutely brilliant. He scored. That was a well-deserved goal as well. Petkovic didn't really manage the game all that well. I think Switzerland did poorly to take advantage of the chances that they had, although Danny Ward in Wales's goal was exceptional. He made some very, very good saves. Shades of Ochoa for Mexico at the World Cup whenever he turns up. Robert Page was the main question mark that I had in this group when I did my groupie preview. And he proved me wrong today. To be as fair as possible, I think his choices of playing Dan James, Danny Ward, and Kiefer Moore absolutely earned him that draw. First of all, Ward hadn't played a league game since 2017. Dan James hasn't really been a proper fixture in Man United's starting 11 throughout this entire season. But where everyone was going into this game thinking that this was Gareth Bale's Wales, this was in fact Dan James's Wales. The boy was brilliant today. Fast, precise. He controlled the ball well, was the main threat for Wales throughout the entire game. When Page took him off, I was kind of skeptical, but I think the boy needed some rest, and Mr. Page made that obvious and confirmed it in the post-match interview. Now, I honestly thought Wales would run away with it somehow. I thought they would steal the game, not run away with it as in win with a big scoreline, but I thought that they would basically steal a second goal, and that would be that. I expected, though, that Kiefer Moore would get on the score sheet. He's been brilliant for Cardiff, and this goal was coming either way, despite the bandage he had on his head. Now, in regards to Belgium and Russia, because I'm going to cover the Denmark-Finland game at the end, because that's what's going to take most of this video. Belgium played extremely well, and they earned a very easy victory. Russia were just out of the game right from the start. You could tell it didn't have it in them. They weren't organized. They didn't play all that well. They couldn't link up play. Could barely attack. Barely created any proper chances. Dziuba was practically on his own. He was the only player who looked like he was awake throughout the whole game. Golovin was disappointing. And on Belgium's side, despite the fact that De Bruyne was not in the starting 11, Lukaku delivered. And oh boy, did he deliver. 2 very good goals, a brilliant performance, clinical, precise, and I've used that word once already in this video, but he was extremely precise, disciplined, very self-aware in regards to his movement on and off the ball. And it was extremely touching that he dedicated his first goal to Christian Eriksen. Now, I expected Roberto Martinez's team to go out of this game with an easy win. But 3-0 was good. I thought that maybe it would be 2-0, but 3's good. Clean sheet. Like an upgrade in terms of confidence. They probably already had come into this game with a lot more confidence. Hazard got some time in as well. I think that would do his confidence quite well despite having 2 horrible seasons at Madrid. I honestly didn't think he would be chosen for the squad. Now, on to the Finland-Denmark game. This game was going quite well until what happened to Eriksen. Now, to say that this was a horrible event is an understatement. You could sit here all day and just talk about how baffling it was. But I'm going to just express how I felt on a more human level. I was genuinely shaken. I was extremely shocked. And I didn't want to believe what I was seeing. The fact that it took the medical team a long time to resuscitate him. The fact that it took a very long time for us to figure out that he had woken up before being taken off the pitch. That was the most relieving moment I've had all day. After the most tense moment I think I've ever watched on a football pitch. I don't want to talk about what happened as much as I want to talk about the reaction, because the reaction was brilliant. From the medical staff, from the Denmark team, from the managers, from the referee. A referee who I generally don't like, just to be honest. But after today, I've gained a whole other level of respect for him. Not to say that I didn't respect him before, but when you see a person react in such a way, he and Simon Kjær, by the way, I already admired and loved Kjær as a player, but now my admiration for him as a person has skyrocketed. At one point, I thought that Eriksen was not going to make it. And I was freaking out quite badly. And first of all, this reminded me of how grateful we all have to be. And I'm not going to say grateful in circumstances like this, no, in everyday life. Because human beings tend to take things for granted quite easily. And just as we got to witness a player who was arguably at the peak of his capabilities physically, and just, it's not just that, it's performing for his national team at a grand stage, playing club football with the Italian champions. He has a family. He has all the money a lot of people would probably dream of having. And for not just a split second, but for minutes that seemed like hours, none of that mattered. Or most of it didn't matter. In terms of possessions, a lot of that didn't matter. And you just looked at him, and you looked at how his team shielded him so that the media couldn't actually shoot what was going on. To use the word decent wouldn't be enough to describe how... What's the word? I'd use the term honorable. I think what we saw today was honorable. It was good to see how, despite that event, football brought the fans together. The Danish and Finnish fans were singing his name in the stadium. That is not something I think I've seen before in this context. I think that, social media was also flooded. And I did my part to just deliver the news that he was okay. I think all of this plays into how profoundly impactful our sport is. And how this player has touched the lives of thousands upon thousands of people in his country, in any other country where he's played in. He's provided us all with moments of joy, and he made it through. And I think at this point, the best things that I've realized today are that, knowing something is one thing, realizing it is a whole other shtick. So I think we should all just do better to be as grateful as possible every day. That's first. And second, I think we should do even more to be grateful for how football unites us. We all look forward to these tournaments. We all look forward to the Euros, the World Cups, the Champions Leagues, the Premier Leagues, every tournament that we pay attention to every year or wait on for years. And I've spoken about this before, and it's like, we're all here we're healthy, we're happy, we're gathered together to embrace what could possibly be some of the happiest moments in our lives, because this sport has made up some of the happiest moments of our lives as fans. And, I think Eriksen actually got to watch, I hope he did, he got to watch the fans cheer his name in the stadium. Just to show how he's influenced the game. To think that he was within inches of death. And then for him to wake up, thank the Lord, and see his influence on the sport that he loves so dearly, to a point that he dedicates his life to it. It's one thing to kick a ball around. It's an entirely different thing to do it with value and passion. I know that sounds odd, like linguistically in those terms, but to do something you love in a way that inspires others to admire you, to respect you, to look forward to you, to aspire to be like you. I think that at that point, whatever it is that you love, you've succeeded at. And people tend to muffle up the term success and struggle to truly define it. You could easily win trophies in football if you're very good at the profession. You will, however, not influence those around you positively if you're good at the profession and you're a horrible human being. Now, I think the best of us will be remembered for how good they are at what they do and how good they are. And at one point, how good they were. And I'm grateful for the fact that Eriksen got to wake up and see his direct influence on the sport that he so loves. And this is the note that I'm going to end this video on. I'm grateful I get to watch this tournament. I'm also grateful I get to do so as a healthy human being. And I'm grateful that it continuously brings us together despite everything. And I wish Christian Eriksen a speedy recovery. Hopefully he'll be back on the pitch in no time. I really, genuinely, honestly hope that his career isn't over because of this. I hope he bounces back and pulls off a tremendous comeback. And that's it for this video. I'm not going to ramble on, That's all I have to say. I'd like to think that I've shed some light or tried to make this more positive by just sharing my thoughts. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content. The links to our social media accounts are in the description below. And I'll see you tomorrow. Just, I'd like to think we're all going to be grateful for the lives we lead right before we get some sleep tonight, so we can wake up tomorrow well rested and have another day to look forward to. So thank you all for generously taking the time to tune in. I appreciate it. And I will see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone.